Hey guys, thanks for listening in on this week's podcast. So what we're going to be discussing are the benefits of reviews and utilizing that to generate revenue. Um, we use Nice Job, okay, and Nice Job is you're going to listen to. Uh, took me from around 150 reviews to over 400 five-star reviews. It automates the process. It's easy, and frankly, it's cheap. It's like 75 bucks a month. We have a special code for you. You go out, I'll put the link in the description. If you go out and sign up, you can even go to the main page, but use code TRN for Tax Rep Network, TRN50, you'll get 50% off. So instead of $75 a month, it'll only be $37.50 a month for the first 3 months. In 90 days, you can do a lot of damage with this. So go sign up, use the code TRN50, get 50% off. Go get all of those reviews, boost your rating, boost your Google reviews, the way that you're ranked, and use that to generate more income. All right. Thanks for joining. I hope you enjoy the program. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me on this week's Tax Rep Network podcast. I'm Eric Green. So I am joined by Alastair Day from Nice Job. And this is a really, I think, timely topic because, Alastair, I've been talking about the tidal wave of work is coming and it's here. We're getting very, very busy. And again, are we all set up to make sure we get our reviews? And in particular, how do you use those reviews to generate revenue? And so I think it's a great time, and for a number of reasons. One is all the rep work that's coming in. But we're looking at the extension deadlines, right? September, October. A lot of people are going to be talking to clients, wrapping up returns, great time to get reviews, and plus all the year-end setup stuff. So I'm thank you for taking the time to do this. I think it's just it's very timely.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, it's an honor to be here. I've been watching the podcast for a couple of years now. So,
I know.
yeah, I think you kind of brought the subject to light pretty perfectly there. I think busy season, as I'm sure your listeners know, I mean, some for certain reasons it can be something to kind of dread, but I think only when you have or when you don't have the correct systems in place. So this doesn't just apply to your reviews, but that's obviously what we're going to talk about. It really presents an opportunity. So if you have the right systems in place, because you're entering this busy season, you're really going to be able to capitalize on the work that you're doing, and then you'll come out of that season in the case of reviews with a really, really strong online reputation to show for it, which is going to help propel you through into the next year. So we'll dive into it a bit deeper, but it's a very hot topic right now.
Well, yeah, no, and what's funny is for marketing, I get this a lot.
Mhm.
How do I find clients? Like if I'm going to start doing representation, but frankly, honestly, any type representation, tax clients, accounting clients. How do I get clients? So first and foremost, you start with your existing clients. The first thing I tell new tax rep members is, what have you gotten out to your existing clients? Oh, they don't really have a tax problem. Doesn't matter.
Mhm.
These are already people who like you. They're your best referral sources. So the first step in marketing is to make sure that your existing client base and network know that you do this. So we actually have a letter in our members area, what to do if you can't pay the taxes. And one of our original tax rep members, Anthony DeLucia, sent that out to all of his tax clients and got 148,000 of new business his first year. Because literally what happens, oh, I didn't know you did this. My brother's got a problem. This person's got a problem. Um, the easiest way to start building your reputation, and think about how new clients research you. I get your name. What do? Usually on my smartphone, I go out and I Google you.
Mhm.
And I don't know about anyone else. I go looking at the reviews, not all the glowing reviews that I assume your friends wrote, but let me go see what the negative ones. And listen, people complain about all kinds of stupid stuff. But if I see something very consistent or more, how did you respond to it? So we're going to get into all of that, but
Mhm.
there's an opportunity now if you have existing clients to leverage them to get more clients, help your SEO and the other stuff online because that all helps. But also to just use their goodwill to be able to then go to new clients, say, hey, look at this, right? I mean, who do you want to, versus, by the way, yeah, there are 10 accountants in this town. How many of them have 50 or 100 five-star reviews?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
your past clients. Honestly, your past clients are sat there, and obviously clients near and dear to you. But when you're looking at it through this lens, they're literally your biggest advocates, right? So that is authentic marketing resources waiting there for you. If you don't have a system that is able to, I don't like to use the word extract, but really it is extract that review from them. Um, Obviously, the service you're giving, you'd like to think they'd be willing to do it, but people these days need to be asked. Like, I'm guilty of it myself, Eric. I'm sure you are too. If I have a great experience these days, life's happening so quick. I don't think to go and, organically leave a review. I need to be asked. I need to be reminded. And
yeah,
when I am asked, I'm willing to do so. So there's all of this lost potential, but there's so much attached to it. It's easier said than done. If you don't have a system in place, then it's going to take time. So obviously, in order to get that, we're going to bridge the gap on how you actually turn these clients' reviews into marketing material that closes sales. But all of this is a process. It involves time. If you don't have the staff, the resources, then you're not going to be able to do it. So that's why
well,
systems are so important.
and that's why I love Nice Job, because I would ask, and then they leave. I forget, right?
Yeah.
Because life happens and I'm busy and whatever. And they forget. And again, I don't think it's they didn't want to help me. They just, oh, yeah, yeah, I'll do that. They get in their car, turn on the radio, plug their iPhone, and then before you know it, they forget too.
Hmm.
Um, and so the whole idea of the automation, and we can talk about that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, I think I called this the 5 ways to turn reviews into revenue.
Hmm.
And so you know, number one, what do you think?
So number one is definitely volume, and it relates back to what we were talking about when you're coming into that busy season. The biggest value that you get from having a system is that it lets you achieve volume. So going out there and getting as many reviews as possible. And that obviously relates to conversion rate. So what conversion rate means in the sense of reviews is, say I do a job for you, Eric, and you're happy with the job. I then ask you to leave a review. What is the conversion rate of whether or not you actually leave me a review or not? So that over the span of X number of customers, however many leave your review versus how many you invite, is your conversion rate. Now that conversion rate is impacted by so many different factors. For example, are you asking them once? Are you asking them twice? Are you reminding them? Are you asking them at the peak moment of happiness, we like to call it? So are you asking them way too late after the actual job's been complete, where you're mainly just an afterthought? Or are you asking them maybe too soon, in that, I might get to this later and it never gets done? So you really need a combination of them all. So that's the first point on how we turn it into revenue. And it's all volume. And in order to achieve volume, it's automatic. So in the case of Nice Job, and we can talk about just Nice Job or any real system that does this, it's so important to have, is that we basically offer 2-week campaigns. So when the client's invited, they're invited initially, but if they don't leave that review, they're then gently reminded over the span of a 2-week period. And because of the technology, we're able to tell when the actual job's been completed, when the invoice has been paid, etc., all of these different triggers. So our system can work out, right, it's been completed now. Let's wait until tomorrow morning to actually send them the invite, because that's going to be more likely for them to get up, see it on their phone, respond. If they don't do that, let's gently remind them with a differently worded email 3 days later. And the technology is smart enough as well that if you get that review on the first invite, if they do respond via text with the review and it goes to Google, then we can take them out of that campaign. So I think that is a big concern when people are implementing systems which it's going to be reaching out to their customers for them. They don't want to bother their customers. They don't want to come across as, spammy like that. So many people are worried. So you've got to have a system that's also smart, that can recognize when that review's been received, exit them from that campaign, and there you go. You've got the review.
Yeah, when we implemented Nice Job, and for those folks who are listening, I'll put a link in the description. Um, I would ask for reviews. I think and I would press people, right? Because I made a decision a couple of years ago. I'm like, look, I need to do this.
Yeah.
And so I literally began kind of an email campaign. After a few months, it fell off because I got busy and, whatever. I think I got like to like 150 or so. And then, one of my tax rep members said, "Oh, nice job." And I was like, "That's a nice job." And I said, "Yeah, but I can email them for reviews." They said, "Yeah, but does it follow up automatically? And by the way, if you get a 5-star review, you can, there's a code, it'll post it right to your website."
Mhm.
And I was like, "Well, that's cool." And so we implemented this. I asked you to look at this. What did we go? We went from like, was it one
Mhm.
around 150 or so to over 400.
Yeah, 150 to 469. Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's and so when you're talking about a system for those folks listening, is what I did is I took, our tax rep members, I loaded them into it's a spreadsheet you upload into Nice Job,
Mhm.
name and email. I then emailed them first and said, "Hey, reviews really help us. We have potential members looking at it. Would love you to do the review. We're going to send out a link. If it take you a minute, but we anything you can do." And it went out, and I think we got like 20 or 30. I remember being pretty happy. And then I kept getting more.
Mhm.
And I was looking, it does an automatic, it'll follow up over a period of time. And so, yeah, I mean, it really has boosted us. I mean, we now have, like you said, over 400 5-star reviews. So when people are looking, when an accountant or a lawyer is looking like, tax rep, should I join? When you have over 400 5-star reviews, and some people you can like click on them and they have a Google profile, so they're real people. People can see they're real people.
Mhm.
I think it has helped the growth of tax rep over the last year tremendously.
Mhm. 100%. I think I saw a stat recently. It was 91% of individuals aged between 18 and 34 trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations from friends and family. So, like, when you're talking about trends,
Yep.
these 18 to 34 year olds, these are going to be your future clients. These are going to be your future clients moving forward. And that generation has grown up with technology. It hasn't been introduced to them. Like, they've grown up with it as their norm almost, or they've kind of gone straight at the beginning of it. So they are relying on, like it says in that stat, like friend, family member, word of mouth was kind of traditional marketing methods. Like, these people, your future clients, are now trusting strangers on Google just as much as their friends and family members. So this is something where you can't rely anymore just on word of mouth amongst your clients who know each other. Like, people are going on to Google and they're putting all of their trust in it. And there's so much. I mean, for example, like myself, I could maybe speak to this, and I think maybe you could as well, Eric. If I go on and look at a business or a product on Amazon, for example,
Yep.
if it doesn't have X number of reviews, if it hasn't actually crossed a benchmark, say if I have something which is like below 20 reviews, I'm probably not even going to look at it. I'm immediately going to be drawn to the listings which have a certain number of reviews over a benchmark. On Google, honestly, with the amount of resources companies are starting to put into getting to reviews, you really need to be getting to 100 Google reviews minimum as quickly as possible. And that's for the people who are making the buying decisions, but it's also coming down to how Google's ranking you. There's so
Yep.
much competition amongst these listings amongst businesses that if you're not really getting above that 100 range on Google, Google's not even going to really start listing you in their map pack or on the front page. So yeah, in terms of how technology's progressed, it's not just the buying decisions of people that are your clients, but it's also how these companies are even listing you. So it's more important than it's ever been.
Right. Well, and again, for those folks listening, think about if you go to Amazon. You don't look at the reviews? I do. I just bought something on Amazon based on, and again, there were a bunch of products, but one of them had like 4,000 reviews
Mhm.
and was like a 4.7 rating. Again, I looked at the negative one, the ones and the twos, and it all seemed to be kind of foolish. Like, I
Mhm.
bought this, and yeah, it really wasn't meant for this, but I thought it would work, and it didn't. I'm like, well, then why are you giving them a 1-star review? You're an idiot. But anyway, so I do look at that. One, because to see if I see a trend that would be concerning, but also how the product or how the business owner, how they responded, which I think is the second point, is managing, for lack of a better term, negative reviews.
Yeah.
Because you guys actually gave me the greatest advice a couple years ago about this, but what do you? for the audience, what do you suggest if because there are people nervous about doing this because yeah, there are maybe I don't have all these 5-star reviews, but I don't have negative ones.
Hmm. Yeah, I hear that so many times, so often when I'm at events or conferences speaking to business owners. One of the main reasons when I'm having a conversation, it sounds like this business owner or this accountant has like a great practice going on, and I'm like, oh great, how many reviews do you have? And it's, oh well, we have 12 reviews on Google. I'm like, wow, your service sounds incredible. It's like they're going for quality over quantity. They actually don't ask, they're actually afraid to ask people because they want to make sure that when they do ask for that review, it's guaranteed that it's going to be a 5-star. They don't want to bring that rating down at all. So it's really a shift in the mindset that's needed here, because I think a lot of business owners and accountants are seeing negative reviews as challenges, and in a way they are. But how we actually look at them is opportunities. So there's opportunities there in more ways than one. So first of all, the obvious one is you're getting feedback into the business on how well you're doing. So that's actually something that's really important. You need people to address these things for you. But second, which is actually the less obvious one, is how you respond to a negative review can do a few things. It can, first of all, depending on how you respond to it, and I think this is where Oscar gave you some really good advice. Depending on how you respond to it, you can actually change that whole customer's experience, that whole client's experience.
Yep.
Sometimes they just want to be listened to. Sometimes they do actually have an inquiry that they want solved, and responding opens up the door of conversation for that to happen.
Yep.
So, and each customer, even ones that leave you a negative review, that customer holds the potential for more repeat business. So if you disregard that customer, you try and bury the review, you don't respond to it, that's revenue that you're losing because they're not going to come back and use you.
Yep.
The second part is the visibility and the and what it shows to people who are going on and looking at your reviews. So like we said, so many people these days, when they look at reviews, they're looking for your negative ones because they want to see like, okay, what's up with this business? Like, what are the things that they're doing bad? If I go on and I see a negative review versus a negative review with the owners responded to it, completely changes my perception of that
Right.
business. It shows that, hey, if I do have an issue, I'm going to be listened to, I'm going to be heard. They're not just going to take my money and disregard me onto the next one. So that's how, again, reviews, how you respond to negative reviews can return more revenue because, yeah, it's showing, it's boosting your reputation, it's giving you a reputation of someone who actually cares about its service and its clients. So, yeah, there's so much that branches off it.
Right. And yeah, so Oscar, nice job, had given me the advice because we got a 1-star review for tax rev
Mm-hmm.
from somebody who we'd never heard of. And I remember I was talking to Oscar. I said, "What do I do?" I mean, because the knee jerk in me would be to go out and say, "We don't know who you are," blah blah blah. And he said, "Everything comes down to how you respond." So what I did, and at the time, I think we were around the 100 or whatever number of reviews.
Yeah.
So that one negative was enough to we weren't 5.0 anymore. It was whatever. Was, we're sorry you're unhappy, but we have no record of you ever dealing with tax rep or taking any of our courses. Could you please contact us so we could figure out if it's not us or if there's something we can do to help you? I think within a few weeks we were 5.0 again. And
Yeah.
I'd have to go looking for it. It doesn't pop up. Like if you go to our reviews, how it ranks like 5, 4, 3, 2. I don't even think the one even shows up anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We had one in the law firm from a client who this sometimes happens. That's why people are our clients. He hired us all full of going to deal with this and then vanished. Doesn't respond, doesn't whatever. At some point, we were like, we just returned his money. Well, he, after about a year and a half, went out and did a 1-star review and said, hired them. They were quick enough to take my money and then did nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And we have attorney-client privilege. So I'm like, I can't really respond how I want to, but it was one of these, again, great advice from Oscar. Hey, I don't want to say his name, but if you can go look for him, you probably find him.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'll call him Dave. Hey, Dave, saw this. Please contact us because this doesn't match our memory of what went out, of what happened. And hopefully people will read that and see all the other 5 stars and be like, yeah, clearly this guy was just disgruntled.
Hmm.
You know, so that, I mean, that happens from time to time in the
Yeah.
legal world, and sure in the tax world too. You get one client who's not happy because you didn't get him what you thought he thought or she thought you would. Um, but anyway,
Yeah.
no, I mean,
And on that point as well, in relation to scaling, because obviously when we're talking about using reviews to drive revenue, that's going to result in you being able to scale the business, to practice. So uh, what's so important as well on the subject of negative reviews is if you have a centralized system such as Nice Job, which pulls any review you get, whether it's left for you on Google, Facebook, any other review site, it all pulls it into one dashboard. And all the notifications apply wherever a review comes in. So you're going to be notified the second a negative review comes in, whether it's Google, Facebook, somewhere else. And
mhm.
you're going to be able to go into your dashboard, see all of the reviews there, and respond to all of them in one place. So when we're talking about scaling, if you're hiring on people into your practice to manage this side of the business and they have a system where they can see negative reviews the second they come in, respond to them all in one place, as opposed to trying to monitor all of these different sites people could be leaving you reviews, then it's going to make sure that you don't miss any. And essentially, it means that every single customer, whether they have a good experience or a bad experience, feels heard, and everyone else that's considering using your platform sees that. So that's really how the connect is made between negative reviews and driving more revenue.
Yeah. And to talk about that, most of us don't have the budget to hire someone to manage this. So
Yeah.
the whole the the time consuming aspect of it, which again, for those, listening, was what attracted me to Nice Job, because instead of emailing person by person and then following up and remembering to follow up, um, it's time consuming. I mean, to really try to run this yourself, it would be a whole other job.
Mm-hmm.
Um, from your perspective, I mean, I'm interested on your side of the table, how your view of that is.
Yeah, so I think that's actually nicely brings us on to the next point, point number three. So save time on reputation management. So and this applies across all business owners that Nice Job works really well for, not just accountants, not just practice owners. When you're starting up and you're trying to scale, you're wearing all the hats in the business. You're doing all these kind of things. You're engaging with clients. You're actually doing the primary service that you offer. So that's why you can find that in these businesses, especially when people are starting early on, this side of it, the review side of it, it does get neglected. And it's generally seen as an area which, like, well, let me get my systems going with regards to the service I'm offering. Let me grow a little bit and then I'll get to that. Whereas really, you need to be bolstering your online reputation as early as possible, because that's going to spiral and snowball into more growth. And it's just going to support you. Say a competitor comes in and you have that online reputation there, you're really able to leverage that. So I think that's where having a system like Nice Job enables you to do that, especially in your case as well, Eric. So saving time, not having to just spend hours manually tracking reviews across different sites, consistency in responding to reviews. So I need to log in here, respond to this one. I need to log in there, respond to this one. So it really does enable a business owner to just wear sort of one hat with regards to this and have everything done. And efficiency is so key.
Right.
So I think in terms of a platform that will enable you to scale this side of the business, the reputation side of the business, and we'll get on to the social sharing part, which I think is the next point, which is really the bread and butter in terms of how you really turn this sort of these reviews into marketing material and close more jobs. But yeah, I think the time saving aspect is something which first of all, it's the biggest pain point I hear when someone comes to us and they want to use us, they haven't been using us yet. So
Yeah.
that's honestly the biggest problem that we solve, other than getting reviews, is actually saving them time. And that time that's then saved taking care of this side of the business is then able to be recycled and put back into the other areas. So really, like you said, there's a certain aspect of this, depending on how you use it, that can really be put on autopilot. So you're at least getting the core volume of reviews coming in, best reviews shared. And then once you free up some more time in the business, you can then get even more out of it by jumping in and doing the responses, adding all of these other features in that, topic insights to learn, what are people saying? What's the sort of top 5 things that are coming through all of these reviews? I think you referenced Amazon earlier. They do something similar to this with their products.
Yep.
So you can really find out, are everyone saying that we're punctual? is everyone's saying that, you know, like the value of the service is incredible. So you can really identify what your clients are saying and then add that messaging into your marketing material so that, you know, people's expectations are set right. You know, they're coming to use you for this reason that you're advertising, and then they're experiencing that same benefit when they use the service, which is just an all-round great experience, increases the chances of them using you again for repeat business.
Yeah. And so again, if you're listening and you haven't used it, literally what this would look like is, you go in and set up and we'll have a special deal for you. You can, in an Excel spreadsheet, effectively upload the list of your clients, first name, last name, email, and set up so that it will then go out, request the reviews. Again, I emailed my clients first to kind of give them a heads up. Otherwise, they're going to get this random request. Um, and then there are settings so that I can add this, I think it's called a widget, on
Mm,
my website so that if it's a 5-star review, it will automatically post it to my website. So I may not be able to control what people say, but I can filter the ones that I want to now take and use in my marketing.
that's it.
And it literally set it and forget it. And over the course of the next 4 to 6 weeks, we tripled, not almost tripled the number of reviews that we had.
Mhm.
We added over 300 reviews. And that's not Eric sitting there every night emailing with each person. It was just literally somebody from Nice Job walked me through it because I'm a little bit of a technological idiot. We uploaded it, and after we set this thing up to go, and I was like, well, now what? And he said, nothing. I'm like, nothing? He said, no, just you watch the reviews. If you get a negative one, when I emailed all of just for the folks listening, when I emailed all of our members, what I did is I emailed, say, look, this really helps us. If you can, give us a review, that's great. I said, if you really are unhappy about something, rather than taking it out on us in the review, please email me. Let me see what it is. We keep improving tax rep, and a lot of it's from feedback. So if you're having an issue, there's something making you crazy, whatever, um, email me because rather than read about it online, I'd much rather be able to just fix it for you.
Mhm.
Um, Again, other than that one phony review, we have nothing but 5 stars. And it's not like I paid my members to do that. My marketing person at the time before she retired said, you can't offer them anything for a 5-star review. I'm like, why not? They're like, no, no, you can't do that. Um, so we didn't. But we got all 5-star reviews. But if you're listening, set up Nice Job, get the clients loaded. Now, a couple of things. If you know that there's one client you just fired and they're unhappy, maybe don't include them.
Mm.
Um, but I did email the clients that one let them know, and I did throw in that look, reviews help us. People would like to know what our existing clients think of us. Yeah, we really appreciate you taking the minute to do this. If, however, you do have an issue, again, before you take it out on us online, I'd really appreciate if you would contact me directly. It'd be just between us, and I'd like to know what it is because I'd like to make it right.
Yeah.
Nobody complained.
Yeah, I think I actually love that point because don't get me wrong, we're very proud of the results that we get. We, you know, they speak for themselves, but there's more you can do. You can build in, like you said then, and I say this, we get used by a lot of home service businesses as well. So there's a bit of a barrier there because they have their technicians who are interacting with the customer. So they'll get their technicians to prime the customer and say, hey, just a heads up, you're going to receive this review invite. Now I know
Right.
it's not as applicable in accounting because you're working more direct with the client. But it's a really good example of how you can build stuff into your business processes that aren't offered through the platform to increase the effectiveness of the platform. So, for example, that email that you send out and prime them that they're going to receive it, that's going to plant that seed in their mind so that when they are entered into the campaign and they are reminded over that 2-week period, they're still going to be more likely. So you're boosting the conversion rate yourself, Eric, there by doing that.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I have a relationship with them.
yeah. Exactly.
I mean, all of our members, Kevin does a welcome call. We have a relationship with them.
Mhm.
And so I think it's really beneficial, uh, first of all, that they hear from me. It's not just some automated, they
Yeah.
hear from me. So they, first of all, they know it's important to me. They're expecting it. And also that caveat of, again, I want to hear you. If you're having an issue, please let me know because I want to help you. I think that goes a long way with softening. And again, I don't know what people would have said, but if there were people that were annoyed or frustrated or whatever, um, it softens the blow, if you will. That, you know what? All right, Eric, let me shoot you an email. What I got a lot of was, oh, everything's great. Have you considered this? Have you, I mean, it was more ideas rather than complaints,
Yeah,
but I think it
it's a good,
helps.
it's a good
Um,
call out though, the kind of personalization, because so with the fourth email, so this is the in that 2 week period Eric and I were talking about before. The fourth email is their last reminder in the 2 week period. And I was just looking at your stats here, Eric. You have 17% conversion rate on your fourth email. So, which is very, very high. And I looked at the wording of that email and it's written directly from yourself. It's written from Eric Green, the business owner. So I think the results speak for themselves with the point you just made then in terms of the personalized aspect to it. The reason that message is so highly converting, for example, the SMS message, the initial one, is very quick to the point. It's on their phone. We want it to be. That gives it the best chance of converting. But that fourth and final email, which I think, yeah, you've had a bunch of reviews come from that you wouldn't have got if it didn't send, is your highest converting one. And I think it's because it's like 2 weeks later, it's like, hey, it's Eric here. Once again, thank you so much. So they really feel spoken to by you. It's not just some kind of very clearly, automated like AI message. It sounds like it's really coming from you. And again, each practice, each business is different. So we do offer customization. So you can add your own language to your messages. You can really personalize it so it does sound like more like it's coming from you. But the key thing is you're not writing out that email every time. All you're doing is clicking invite, and you just know that customer is being invited. It's going out in a 2 week cycle. You can just sit back and let it come in.
right. No, no. So in terms of leveraging the reviews,
Yeah, this is the fun.
um, yeah, I mean, what do you see?
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, when it comes to leveraging reviews, it's always good to first look at what people were doing. So, what are the sort of traditional marketing methods? And that would be things like, and I think people are doing things that our service offered now. I think back in the day, and still some companies now, they would put the reviews on their website, but it would almost be, and quite commonly, it would be a static image, right? So social proof is so important to put wherever customers are making their buying decisions. So when it's on your website, wherever they're learning information about the business, have a review that supports it, that validates it. So what we do is we take that a step further. We put a widget on your website which will automatically live stream all of your best reviews. So I'll take you back a few steps here. So you've entered all your customers into a campaign, 2 week period. You get to the end of the 2 week period, you've had a bunch of reviews come in. What we do is we automate the next part. So we basically take all of the best 5-star reviews, and you can set it. You can make it 4 if you want those ones to share as well. But we'll take all of the 5 stars and have them automatically shared through the widgets. So that means whenever you have a 5-star review come in, that review is going to go up on your website on a built-in review page, and it's going to come up as a little pop-up in the bottom left corner. If any of you go to nicejob.com, we have the widget on our website. You'll see in the bottom left, if you type it in now, it just pops up saying Karen just left us a 5-star. John just left us a 5-star. So it shows it's live. It shows that these are coming in real time. They're not just static images that have been on the page for the last 3 years. And, on the one hand, that's really beneficial for the customers that are on your website. On the other hand, that means your website's having fresh new content uploaded every single day, which again, Google loves that. So not only are you increasing the opportunity for customers on your website to convert, you're also making Google want to rank you higher. So that's why it's so important. And this social sharing and how we leverage it doesn't just apply to your website, it applies to your social media. So again, we were talking about 18 to 34-year-olds, where they're making their buying decisions. They're all on social media, right?
Right.
And when someone leaves a review for you, that review can only go in one place. They have to choose either I'm leaving it on Google, I'm leaving it on Facebook. What you can do through Nice Job is you can take all of those reviews that have been left on Google, automatically turn them into social posts, which get shared on your Facebook. So yes, it's not being a Facebook review, but it's going on your company's Facebook page. It's a screenshot of the review. So you're really just getting them as much exposure as possible. And most importantly, it's all of the best reviews. So you're basically segmenting all of your customers. You're
Right.
identifying which ones are the most vocal 5-star fans, and you're putting those reviews in as many places where new customers are making that decision.
I remember discovering that, and I was thinking, well, what if someone sends a negative review? I don't want to share it. And you can set it, only 5 stars or 4 or 5 star or whatever you want. So there's a setting for that. So again, I can't prevent people from saying whatever they're going to say, but I can certainly decide which ones I'm going to share and where I'm going to share it.
Yeah, and that's where it all links together, right? So through Nice Job, again, it all goes back to the first point we talked about, volume. Like, don't be afraid to get reviews. Yes, some might be bad, some hopefully most will be good. But if you're taking the approach and mindset of volume, any bad ones that come in are going to get buried by all the good ones. And those bad ones, you're going to know when they come in so you can respond to them, bank the feedback, turn the experience into a good one if you can. But the most important part, which is the missing piece of the puzzle, is how you then take the best reviews and turn them into more business. And that is through the automated social sharing, all of the 5 stars.
And in fact, you had mentioned this to me. By the way, for everyone, and I'll put a link in the description, we're going to be doing a webinar
Mm-hmm.
um, on um, on um, on September 6th.
Yeah.
Six steps to maximize your tax rep practice growth by automating your client experience. The reviews is part of that, is going to be part of that program. But you had mentioned to me, and I found this very interesting, even inconsistent reviews can help drive, business and revenue. Can you explain that to everybody?
Yeah. So I think that the
I
way
think
that
that might have been the fifth point, actually.
yeah, and we kind of tied that up quite nicely within the last one, but I think it's worth a call out. And yeah, basically it's a challenge previously for, I mean, commonly for business owners to identify sort of consistent areas for improvement, because feedback can be quite sporadic, especially if you're using traditional methods. So for example, if you are asking for reviews just manually, you're saying at the end of the job, you're sending one email, it's going to cause a situation where you have some feedback coming in, but you're not capturing everyone's experience. So the feedback which you're actually capturing might not be a fair reflection of the service you're actually providing. So again, it all relates back to what we talked about. If you go for volume, not only just to get reviews and 5 stars on Google, and then you're going to have more advocates to share and close more business with their reviews, you're also going to get more consistent feedback. So you're going to be able to identify all of these areas in the business where I'm doing this really well. I need to improve on this. So I think it comes back, like I said, to volume. If you're not getting a high volume of reviews, it's also one of those things where I know this applies a lot more to the restaurant industry, I've found, but people are way more willing to go out and leave a review if they've had a bad experience versus a good one. I think,
Well,
and I
what's motivating them?
yeah, exactly. Like they have that like I went here, it wasn't as I expected. I need to tell people and share this. It where versus, I mean, I worked for a food delivery company when I first moved to Canada, and I was on the phones, right? So I was helping existing customers with their orders. No one would ever call in and say, "Hey, Alistair, I just want to let you know I got my food delivery today. The apples are great, the oranges are perfect, everything tastes amazing." Every call would always be,
What's
they're
wrong?
bruised, they're rotten. Like, so people, yeah, people have expectations in their mind. When those expectations are met, they're satisfied, but they need to be asked to share it. If they have expectations in their mind which fall below it, then all of a sudden they're incentivized to go and tell everyone without being asked. So that's just the way the kind of human psyche seems to work. Um, yeah, you just have to make sure that you're proactively doing something to make sure you're harnessing all of the good ones, and that you can then use them to grow the business.
It's funny. And I'm somebody who same thing. I don't tend to go into a place and then immediately go to give them a
Yeah.
review. My wife and I were in Portland, Maine. I'd never been. We went on a long weekend this summer,
Hmm.
and we went to a restaurant fairly new. I think it's called 12, like the number 12, TWELV,
Oh yeah.
and it was fantastic. I way beyond what I thought. I mean, it was one of the best meals maybe I've ever had. Um, And it's one of the only instances I took pictures of the food.
Mm,
It was so beautiful, and I posted. Well, they thanked me. I think I just got like 1,800 people have found my review helpful.
hmm hmm
How many people near Portland have now gone to 12 because of my review?
Yeah.
Um, and by the way, if you're listening to this in anywhere near Portland, Maine, it was a fantastic. My wife felt the same way. Everything we had was fantastic. That tends to be rare that I go and I take pictures of my food. I'm somebody who's like, the whole social media thing. I'm like, does everybody really need to know what I'm eating right now? Does anyone even care? I mean that to me, I'm of a generation where it's like the whole thing is stupid to me. I can be honest with you. I get the finding, people you went to high school with, that's kind of cool, but
Yeah.
these people that are sharing their entire lives or people that are like depressed and they're talking about it, go get a therapist. This is not really the place for this. So I've never been into that. This restaurant was so good. And it was a little place, and I'm like, oh my God, this is so good.
hmm
Um, that tends to be rare. Usually people are motivated because they're pissed off about something,
Yeah. So true.
right? Um, and you're right. It does come down to reviews. And again, for those of you listening, if people are going to start searching, if I'm, like, for instance, if I'm looking for someone to help me do rep work, um, would you rather go to someone that has 100 5-star reviews or someone that has three? I don't know, same with hotels. When I look and it's rated wonderful on hotels.com, if it's 30, mm, but if they're 5,000,
hmm
that's that's they've got to be consistently good to
Yeah.
get that.
Exactly.
And I'm feeling way more warm and fuzzy about them.
Yeah. So
Um,
it all relates back to what we spoke about at the start. It's yeah, I think to your listeners out there, I know it's approaching busy season and there's cause for concern in terms of am I ready? Am I prepared for this? Have I got everything in order? And it's right to think that way, but you got to see it as an opportunity. How can this period that I'm going through, how can I capitalize it on it and mean that I'm going into the same period next year with an incredibly boosted online reputation. I've got all of this marketing material I can use in preparation. So yeah, think of it that way. This is an opportunity for you to take the business into 2025 in an even healthier position than it's hopefully already in.
Right. No, and so I think it's a great time of year to do
hmm
this. For those people listening to this, maybe sometime later, we're recording this in the end of August. September 15th, October 15th deadlines. You're going to hopefully have clients that are happy, returns get filed, whatever. Or even if they're not happy with the bottom line number, they're happy with your service. Um, Request the reviews because out of sight, out of mind. And now for tax season, those people who don't do the reviews, you're going to load them up. And again, this tax season, and hopefully by next summer, you'll have hundreds, depending on the size of your practice, potentially thousands, if you're big enough, um, reviews.
hmm
And again, if you're concerned about, what about negative, I found that email blunted any of that. First of all, it primes them. They know it's coming. But it also it does give an indication that you care. You care about what they think, and if they're having an issue and you want to help them. Again, we didn't get anything negative. So I don't think you should lose too much sleep about that. I really
hmm
don't. And then, as we discussed, there's so much opportunity to take this and leverage this to get new clients, better clients, help your SEO and your ranking, all come down to this. So it's extremely helpful. Again, I'm going to put a link both to a link, or we'll get the code for the discount on Nice Job. You can check it out, try it. It literally, like I said, from about 150 to 420 something 5-star reviews. And again, on automation. It's on automatic autopilot.
hmm
Also, I'll put a link down there. Friday, September 6th, we're going to be talking about the 6 steps to automate your practice, make it more efficient, make more money. Because the time to implement that, it really is fourth quarter. Nice Job that we're covering today is going to be part of that. So definitely, it's a free webinar. You can go log in, check that out. And even if you can't make it that day, you'll get a link. You can watch the recording on demand. So, everyone, thanks for listening. Alastair, thank you for joining me. This has been great. The webinar is going to be fun. I know that. And in fact, I'm going to go pull all of our new tax rep members this year, and I'm going to load them into Nice Job and go get another 100 reviews.
Yeah.
So, no, it's a tremendous product. It's made a huge difference for us. And it's such a simple thing, and not that and fairly inexpensive.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, I think the normal cost was like $75 a month, and there's
Yep.
a discount. I just remember when it was Carlos, one of my trainers now, one of my tax rep guys, who put me onto it, and it's game changing. It really is.
Yeah. Hopefully Carlos got a nice raise.
No, he was like, oh my God, it's great. I'm, whatever. I'm like, oh, listen, you say so. I mean, I trust his judgment, and he was right. He really was right. So,
Yeah.
listen, thank you for joining us, everyone. Thank you for listening in. Go check out the link below in the description, and go check out Nice Job. I'll see you on the webinar September 6th, and probably see you inside Tax Rep.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Eric. Sounds like I've got a restaurant in Portland to go to.
Oh yeah, if you end up there at 12, it was very good. So there's a great review on it.
100%. Thanks again.
All right. Thank you. And thank you everybody for listening in, and see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, listen, thanks for listening in. I hope you got a lot out of this. As a reminder, go out to Nice Shop, use code TRN50, get 50% off the first 3 months, right? I mean, for 3 months, it'll be $100. Go get your clients to give you those 5-star reviews, and it'll make a major difference in your marketing, the way you're ranked, everything. Turn those into revenue. All right. Thanks for listening in as always. Nice job. Use code TRN50. All right. And trust me, it'll be the best $100 you've spent this year. See you inside Tax Rep.